Now let's welcome up my other friend, Mike, and he's going to share his story of God's glory in his life. Let's hear it for Mike.
My name is Mike. I go to the doc, and Gabe asked me to share a little bit about my testimony. And I thought about a lot of things, but then I just realized my testimony is Jesus Christ died for my sins. It's His blood, it's His death, it's His burial and resurrection. You know, the other things are just stupid mistakes that I made in my life. And, you know, I was raised around godly people, but never bought into it, didn't want to really hear it, you know. Got a little older, me and my brother decided we're going to go to a church for ourselves, maybe 13 or 14. And unfortunately, we kind of had a bad reputation around town because our parents worked, we didn't really have money, so we had a lot of free time to do drugs, drink, you know, kind of kids raising kids type of thing. But we just decided we're going to go check it out. We go in, and the people there, they looked at us like we stole something from them. Like they were just disgusted that, you know, we'd even walk into this place. And I remember sitting there, this lady turned around and she looked at us like she hated us. And I told my brother, I said, you know, and the whole time the preacher is preaching, he's pointing right at us and saying that certain people are going to hell. No matter what, they're going to go to hell. And I just told him, I said, look, you know what? I told my brother, I go, yeah, we are going to hell, but I know one thing, we're going to see a lot of faces that we remember from this church. And we walked out. You know, and that's pretty much from there on for a few years. And maybe we were about 15 or 16. We were sitting around just one night, just basically with about 7 friends, just smoking weed and just having a great old time. And we heard about this church where after church they played football. Where they played football and they had meals afterwards and stuff. And we really didn't care about being with those people or their God because, you know, we've already been through that. So anyway, we went out and we started playing a little football, having some fun. But it was different. People there were very friendly, very warm and welcoming. And we were just like, wow, this is, you know, this is not what we experienced before. So anyway, we were one night, we heard there was this youth thing going on. We didn't know what that was. Where basically all the kids went and only the pastor was there. So we had actually been smoking pot all day long. Had no fear about the Lord, none at all whatsoever. So, and my friend had told us about this, and we're going, well, let's go check it out. It can't hurt. So on the way there, we're doing our thing we always do, getting high. And we get there, we walk in, and the pastor does this thing, and he says, does anybody here want to confess anything to God? And my friend stands up and says, I want to confess that we're all stoned, we've been smoking weed all day, and I felt like God wants me to confess for all my friends. So we, of course, just turned around and walked out of the church, and then we were just like, well, no more football. And I felt a hand on my shoulder, and it was the pastor of the church, and he says, where are you guys going? And I said, well, you know what we're doing, you know we're high, you don't want us here. And he said, let me tell you something, son. I love you, and so does Jesus. And God can forgive you for anything. You know, you can come here with no shoes, no whatever. I don't care. Just come. And even though that, I never forgot that, and it really didn't matter to me for quite a few more years, that I went through a bad marriage and had just got divorced, and I ran into this beautiful lady who's my wife now, Kathy Lewis. And I was in a bad way. I was back to partying, doing everything I shouldn't be doing, wanted no part of anything. But when I saw her, we knew each other as we were young, and I said, I'm going to marry her. I knew it right there. I said, I don't know why, but I know I'm going to marry her. So long story short, we got married. Well, we decided to get married. I said, look, I don't care what happens, but our child has to be raised in church. Even though she's like looked at me like she was like, what? I mean, I knew she kind of believed, but I didn't want no part of church. But I said, I don't want my child raised like me, and you know, I just want her to have a godly upbringing. Little do we know the Lord that was bringing us into the church, but you know, and as I say, if the story ended there, it'd be wonderful, but it didn't. When she was about 4 years old, I got addicted to Oxycontin, and had worked tree work, did all kinds of hard work, and the doctor says, oh, you got it, it's the greatest thing going. So I took it. to the point where I couldn't work anymore because I was so out of it. You know, my wife, I would just drive down the road, fall asleep, and run off the road, and my wife wouldn't let my daughter back in my car, and she gives me a letter one day, and I didn't want to read it. I'd already been praying for about a month for God to please just take this addiction away from me. I can't take it. And I said, I don't want to read your letter, but I've been praying I'm going to quit. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't live this life. And so this went on, and it just got worse and worse. I don't know if people understand this, but basically Oxycontin is just heroin. It's legalized heroin. And so I'm going through all these crazy withdrawals. I'm, the doctors, of course, they want to put me on some other pill to get off a pill, and I don't want to know part of that. The lady said, well, you're not going to live 2 weeks. You're going to die. And I said, well, if the Lord wants me to die, then I'm going to die. I'm done with it. You know, I believe that God can heal anything. Jesus Christ can heal anything. So anyway, this went on for a while, and my wife was at work one day, and I was sitting there, and it just felt like I had a billion demons in my skin trying to shoot out of me. I was just going insane. I was seeing things, and I didn't know what to do. So I called a friend of mine and asked him to bring me some pills, and he's like, Mike, you don't want to do that. I go, look, man, just bring me some pills. You know, I don't care. So he's on his way over, and it's just all of a sudden it was like everything just went really quiet. And it was like I was in the room with the devil, and the devil said, your wife hates you. Your child hates you. So just shoot yourself. So I reached in and grabbed a gun, pulled the hammer back, stuck it to my head, and I said, God, I know you never test the Lord, but you got 5 seconds, I'm pulling the trigger. I never felt so peaceful in my life. I just wanted it over, be done with it. And my room was like a fortress. You couldn't hear anything. And I heard my daughter laugh. I never heard anybody talk outside of my door, but I heard my daughter laugh, and I just lost it, started crying. And, and it's just like the Lord said, you have so much to live for, you fool. What is wrong with you? You have me. You got to have God first, then family. Once you realize that, it's God first before anything, period. All the other stuff just falls into place. But, so anyway, I could go through another forever, about my lifestyle, but basically I just want to tell people, the world loves to tell people that drugs and alcohol are a disease. Well, cancer is a disease. I've never known anybody choose cancer. But you have a choice to put a pill in your mouth and drink a beer. And I did it, and I ain't judging nobody because I was the worst of them all. I loved it. I had no reason. I didn't want to quit. I mean, I loved everything about it. And, the world also loves to come out to things like this, and they love to just, cook a meal or whatever, and then give you some clothes and say, God bless you, and then forget about it. The outreach we have, we want you guys to come in with us. Because you know what? I could feed you and clothe you. You can be healed from the worst sickness in the world, but you're only on this earth for a short time. If it's just to later die and go to hell because you have nothing to do with Jesus Christ, then what good was it? What difference does it make? If you're holy, if this is all we have and there's no more, then I don't want any part of it. I think everybody here knows the truth. You can say what you want. Everybody's going to worship something or someone. Period. You're going to either worship a wife, a car, a job, or you're going to worship God. And that's the only way. Jesus died on a cross for everyone. This is a man not only did never sin, but knew no sin. Period. Knew no sin. And he took the sin of the world. If people don't understand, that's everything. He felt murder, he felt rape, he felt it all for us. And that's how much he loves us, and we spit in his face every day. And that's how, I know this is probably not a warm, fuzzy Thanksgiving, kind of message, but that's just what the Lord laid on my heart. Because it all doesn't matter unless we have him.
Let's hear it for Mike. I love stories like that because it reminds me in this Thanksgiving season what I'm most thankful for.